Next, we have a very, very big group by the name of... I like this group. What they do. Hey, yo. I like this. Yo. Hey, yo, my quality control.
Yeah. My favorite kind of music, Grant. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Little Jurassic
You know
5.
how much I love that shit. It's awesome. Yeah. So, thank you so much for all listening in. I'm Bexy, and this is Not Kosher. So, how's everybody's day today? You're not answering me. I don't hear anything. All right. Okay, but I hear these guys. Thank you, and welcome to my Juniverse. Don't forget to check me out on notsokosher.net, which will ride you into notkosher.net, depending on what you feel like using. You can tweet me at notkosher or notsokosher. And you can check out this fabulous podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, and 11social.com. Let me tell you a little bit about my week. So I normally would be having my mitzvah magic, but it's the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be doing my little drink today, but next week I'm going to have Christy Wesson on with me for Thanksgiving, and we're going to make some cocktails and have a really good time. But I want to just tell you a little bit about what I had going on this week, and I'm going to start with my one of my sad news is, unfortunately, is a really good friend of mine since I was a kid. Lost her dad today, Linda. I'm so sorry about Dad. Or lost him last week, and today was the funeral, and went and did that, and that sucks, but whatever. Last Friday, the 13th, was National Kindness Day, and unfortunately, it was not a very good day. That was the day we had that horrendous situation in Paris, which really sucks, and I just don't seem to understand it, and I don't get how a 27-year-old can be the mastermind of it. I don't know if you heard that, Grant.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you?
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I don't know how much news you watch. I'm like really a freak about the news, so I don't know, and I just don't understand it. I don't get how that can happen, how these people, I mean, there's bajillion too many humans, and we're just sneaking through the cracks, and they figure out new and better ways, and I suppose the younger ones are the ones that are figuring it all out, which is really sad. Mm-hmm. But anyways, they're going to strike back, and I hope it doesn't get too crazy, but whatever.
It's going to be crazy.
Well, it is, but
I don't mean to like harp on it, but really, like when you said strike back, they are, and people, it's slightly, if this continues throughout the West, Western culture, it's going to quickly and sadly become, and I don't mean to bring it up, but like World War III. I mean, if these guys keep doing this kind of stuff to these different areas, they're going to band together and they're going to create something that it's just, we don't want to get to.
Exactly.
It's terrible.
It sucks, but I don't know what we're supposed to do. I'm just so, I think it's constantly a nerve-wracking thing for a lot of us that, I don't know. I get nervous every day. I don't trust anybody,
I trust you.
Yeah, I know. I trust some of us, but not everybody. So I need to tell everybody about this really comical thing. So Big Daddy decided that he was going to raise bees. Okay, so he went to a beekeeping class, a 9-hour beekeeping class, and he learned everything about bees. And now he's been studying them with this little poster chart. He's got it taped on the wall, and then he's got a little CD that he keeps studying. And he keeps learning about, because he has to buy his little bee costume, that little net thing. Mm-hmm. And then he's got to wear little gloves and his little, everything. And then he wants to buy these bees, which he has to put his order in by January. Anyway, so he keeps saying to me, I don't know, should I order the bees? I got to put the order in now. I got to get that order in. I got to get them by April to get it started. And then it'll take a long time. And then he's trying to get his boss who, he works in a bank, and he's trying to get them to put the bees on the top of the building so that they can say that they're like super earth friendly and promote themselves like that, which is not a bad idea.
No.
But it takes till the next year before you actually have any honey. And then you worry about like these mites that get into the little eggs and it's crazy, all of this shit that you have to worry about with these bees. And so John's been, walking around the house going, zzz. He thinks he's a drone. He's like, I'm a drone. I'm not a worker bee. I'm a drone. I'm going to do the big queen bee. He's all into that. It's very comical. But I keep reminding him that he gets killed by the queen bee when he like does business with her.
Right.
Then he's done.
Right?
Yeah. Are you looking for bzzz
No,
noises?
I kind of have. That's what she said, but that really doesn't work. So no bee noises.
Well,
nothing.
no, that's what she says. The bee, the queen.
The queen bee.
The queen. I was very fortunate to go and listen to Stereo Kitchen, which is this fabulous band made up of a bunch of Jewish, they're not all Jewish, but Jewish professional men. Like the main guy's an attorney, which cracks me up. And
That's
then
cool.
it's like, it's their moonlighting job. It's beautiful. But it's when you go to this event, every time I go to listen to them play like at Bunkers, it's always like, do you know what a bar and bat mitzvah is, right? Because you've been through that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like going to a 50 plus bar and bat mitzvah party because it's always like you're dancing. But now we get to like get, annihilated,
Exactly.
Yeah, while we're dancing. So it's pretty comical. But it's very fun. It's kind of like when you go to youth group stuff as an adult then. Like as a kid when you go to your youth stuff, and now we see all the same people that we haven't. Some people haven't. I brought somebody with me who had seen some of these people in 35 years because they don't go to stuff usually. So it was very funny. Mm-hmm. I went to also Big Daddy's hockey game last night, and last year their team sucked. The Bulls, which is so comical that their name is the Bulls.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull.
I know.
Big Daddy, right?
It's a Big Daddy thing.
Yeah.
And he's a bull.
You would know.
He's like a bull to me. Anyway, so it's perfectly fitting for him. And so they started this team last year. He was on the Thunder Chickens before that. But then
Thunder Chickens.
But after 8 years, that dissolved and they started this new team last year. And so, and he's of course been the captain, which is crazy because it takes so much work, more than what you would think. It's kind of stupid, but he's very good at it. No one else will do it, so it's fine if he wants to do that. But they sucked last year. They never won any games. They got like slaughtered every single game. They got slaughtered on. So last night and last week, I think they've had 3 games, but I think they've won all 3 games, which is really weird because they stayed in the same, what's it called? The same
rec league, division, class.
Division.
Okay.
They stayed in the same. Some people wanted to drop down because they'd gotten so slaughtered last year. And then Big Daddy kept saying, well, no, if we stay in and we get the right people, because they had some people that weren't very good players. Mm-hmm. And so obviously they got good players this year because there's like 4 new guys and they know how to do a really good, like the little thing right by the front of the net where they like go back and forth and they play, what's it called? They make a little... They have their strategy, or what is it called?
Well, they make plays.
They did that. They do plays. They play together. They play together.
There you go.
Like they're supposed to do.
They set screens and drop down passes.
Yeah. Well, half the time you'll get some of the guys on his team will take the puck and they are like, I have to get a goal. All right, I know I'm on the other end of the ice, but I'm going to shoot it and I'm going to make it. And it's bullshit.
Yeah, they're puck hogs.
Ridiculous. And now we need to talk about another show.
We do.
Do you want to give me something?
We could talk a little bit about Ross's The Good Podcast.
We could talk about Ross.
Ross has The Good Podcast every Friday here.
Yes. I was so lucky to actually have him help me with an event last week for Give to the Max Day, and he was phenomenal. Thank you, Ross. You were wonderful.
Ross is awesome. He's a lifestyle expert in town here. He does a lot with Channel 9. You can see him once a week do a lot of different things on if there's a particular holiday coming up. He'll do the Halloween tree or the Thanksgiving tree or a lot of different cooking recipes for those specific holidays. But he's just all full of all kinds of fun information. He's a really fun and exciting guy, and I check him out on Alive and Social, The Good Podcast, every Friday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ross. You're good, Ross.
No, I'm not Ross.
And thanks, Grant. No, I know. Thanks again,
Thank
Ross.
you.
So I have some things I wanted to fetch about this week.
Yes. You can do a little kvetch of the week, huh?
Yeah, my kvetch of the week.
I like it.
And you know what? It was one of those weeks where it was Big Daddy that was being a pain in the fucking ass this week. But I'll tell you something. He's got this new thing. So I found this container of gumballs. When the kids were little, I had a picture that would go on the wall that was it was thicker. It was probably about 2 inches thick, and it was a picture of a gumball machine. Mm-hmm. And then you could pour gumballs on the top, and then there was a little handle that you could like literally turn it to get gumballs to come out.
Oh, that's cool.
It was awesome. So I found an old container of it where they were just nasty dried out, and I set it on the counter just because I didn't have the heart to throw it away. He starts fucking eating those, like morning, noon, and night. And then he says to me, well, I think it's keeping me from eating. I'm like, but your teeth are rotting out.
Yeah,
like,
there's sugar in there.
I mean, there's probably, I think there was 200 gumballs in this, the little gumballs, right?
Yeah.
So then he started doing this where he literally was coming to bed chewing gum. And one night he comes in and he's doing the
mouth noises.
And
Yuck.
it's super sweet and I can smell it. All right.
Oh,
So
God.
he wakes me up this way. I have to literally put earplugs in because I think he fell asleep chewing. It was the craziest thing. I wake up the next morning, as many mornings then. That was just the worst night about it. But he's got chewed up gum on the side with extra little gumballs next to it. Sitting there like getting dusty. It was nasty.
Oh my God.
Like as if he's going to use it again. It's really gross. Then he's got this thing where another one I want to bitch about is he'll come upstairs with a glass of water and then he drinks it right away. And then he puts it in front of me, whether I'm sleeping or not. He kind of nudges me and he says, can you just like go top my water off? I'm like, dude, I'm not going downstairs to top your water off. He thinks I'm like his bitch. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, I am his bitch, but like that's pushing it, you know? I get tired of that. I do not like when people take up 2 parking spaces.
Ooh, me too. Me too.
Or more. Like when, yep.
I hate that.
Hate it. Makes me crazy. I get so frustrated when I pull up somewhere in the wintertime or when it's snowing and people take up more spaces than they should be taking up.
Hate it.
Sucks. Okay. And one of my, I have 2 more. I have
2 more?
Okay. Yeah.
2 more. We got 2 more left.
That's it. I do not like when you go to take a shit and someone does not replace the toilet paper.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, no.
I now, Big Daddy has his own bathroom. We all know that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I now have one of my adult children housing with me for a short time, which I love. And she has her own bathroom downstairs. But if she uses mine upstairs, she is really good about emptying the toilet paper and not putting a new one up.
Oh.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Can't stand that. And you got to put it on properly, too. Make sure the flap goes over the front, right?
Oh, my God. I'm exactly the same way. You have to flip it if it doesn't work that way?
Right. I'm the same way.
Wait, why?
It's just something that bothers me. If you don't, it can kind of flow all the way down and make a mess. So if you throw it over the front top of it, it doesn't keep going. I don't know. It's just something I've always done.
Oh, that's
Maybe my mom did it. I don't know.
You know what I learned when I was younger? Somebody told me that it had to be that way. If you walked into a house where it was the wrong way, it means they make less than... No, this is a long time ago, remember. They made less than $50,000.
Okay, I could see.
Can you imagine? I remember walking in my grandma's house and it was the wrong way, and I thought, wow, she doesn't even make $50,000.
Isn't it funny how when you're a kid, you hear something and you're like, oh, that has to be true.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to roll with it.
Exactly.
And then you get older and you're like, oh, that's kind of...
That's the same thing as when your mom tells you that you have a very large penis when you're 3 years old, and you continue to think that. You continue to think that when she said that your penis is 16 inches long, it's actually 6 inches long.
Oh, my God.
Right? And then you believe it.
A penis. Girls have a vagina.
Yeah, that was me to my mom just as a kid. And then she'd look at me, she goes, no, you just have an innie.
I love that. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So one more thing that I need to bitch about is the weekend was very nauseating for Big Daddy and I, because it was one of those weekends we had to do some cleanup in the yard, and we cleaned up our yard as best that we can as we rake. We do not use those loud, disgusting things that people use to suck up their leaves.
Leaf blowers and mowers. And
Makes me crazy.
the noise?
Yep,
Okay.
makes me crazy. It's a nice quiet day, and people are like, "Yeah," and it makes me nuts. Okay, so in fact, I just realized my neighbors in the back who were always vacuum the back of they would be vacuuming their car for hours on the weekend. I don't hear them anymore. So I wonder if they got too old and they had to bring it into the
Get them detailed.
the car dry cleaning place.
Yeah, detail shop, exactly.
Anyway, so we get done with that. And then we take a walk, and Big Dan and I were like, okay, I'm sorry, but their yard does not have one leaf on it. I'm like, well, they suck the shit out of it. They make sure that it's perfect, and it makes all the rest of us look bad, and it's very frustrating.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm sure they're the anal neighbors that look at every other law that's not done and being like, those leaves are getting into my yard because they're not picking up their leaves. So it goes both ways there. They're so anal about it. I'm sure that they're thinking, they look at the tree in the neighbor's yard, and as the leaves blow into it, they're just shaking their head like, oh, if I could just get that tree down. I'm kind of like that too. I'm a curmudgeon in that sense. So I can see it both ways.
No, and I agree with that entirely. But I don't like the way some of those people also look down on you if you don't do your leaves. But I really believe that we need to be, being a future beekeeper, I believe that we need to keep a lot of this stuff around. I think that I try to leave some like over
natural.
Because that's what we're messing it all up by constantly doing that, or the way the people are constantly using chemicals, to get rid of their dandelions. That's why we don't have any fucking bees because of that. That's really fucked up. So I have my guest this week is Neal Hoffman. He is the founder and creator and everything else in between of Mensch on a Bench. He was amazing, and I was fortunate to be able to interview him earlier in the week. We did it via Blab, so that part of the show we can actually put up on all the, on my website, on Not Kosher website, and you can see that he was a complete mensch, that he took the time to talk to me as long as he did. And when I tried to let him go after about 20 minutes, he said, no, why are we going already? I felt bad. I didn't want to take up this man's time. He was amazing.
He was having a lot of fun with you, though. You guys did well together.
And I did want to play Kosher or Not Kosher with him, and I forgot, and I'm bummed because I might have to call him back to play it with him. So I want you to give a listen into the interview that we had with him. He was great. Grant was very excited, too, because he's a little toy man, too.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I am so fortunate to have Neal Hoffman on my Not So Kosher show today, or Not Kosher, whichever one you choose it to be, through the Alive and Social Network. So Neal is a Marblehead native, correct?
Correct.
Did you grow up on the water?
I did. I love it.
Man, by the JCC, kind of?
Not far. Not probably a couple 100 yards.
Oh, you're so lucky. I can't even believe it. So Neal is a proud father of 2 beautiful sons, and he is the founder and the creator of Mensch on a Bench, Mr. Moish.
A funny story before we even get started.
Go ahead.
My eldest son, who inspired the Mensch on a Bench, his name, because my wife is Catholic and we're raising boys Jewish, and I really wanted my kids to know that they were Jewish. There was no question. He is Jacob Maccabee Hoffman. And Jacob Maccabee is the one who inspired me to write that book about the Maccabees and the whole Mensch thing. And it's this great irony of my life that it is Mr. Maccabee that did it.
I love that. Isn't that nice that we have those little things that always flare up? Like they're meant to be. Yeah, inspire. Mom, thanks. I know you're always there for my English coaching. Thank you so much. You need to stay on to help me because I always lose my big words because I only know. I tell my mom I only know 4-letter words. That's all the more I know. But she's very intelligent. So anyways, he resides in Cincinnati, right? Or kind of like Madeira, right?
Yep.
Okay. And he's got his beautiful wife and his 2 wonderful sons. And he is here from the Ohio Jew Waves. He has been on The View, on the Today Show, which I have to say I personally saw that one with Al and the big Mr. Moish, which was so hysterical. And he's been mentioned on numerous shows and many other things. And he's an incredible person in my eyes. And you've done some really cool things by bringing these to children and adults alike. Do you have anything else you want to add about how fabulous you are?
No, I was on Shark Tank.
Oh, sorry. We were getting there. That's right. I was getting to that part. But the biggest thing that he's been is he was on Shark Tank and he actually won their love and they went with him, right?
Yes.
And they don't, there's
them today.
It's pretty cool. I mean, do you enjoy working with them? Are they cool to work with? Are you still in that? How does that go? Like, does Shark Tank still continue? Do those people still continue to be with you? Was it all of them were on board or?
Got Lori and I got Robert.
Yeah. Okay. And
so very different in their styles. So Robert has a lot of companies He runs his own $150 million company, so he does not want to get into the details of what color the menorah is. So Robert comes in at the highest level and is more like giving me advice on how many items should we launch, what's our cash flow like, and he's, very structured on kind of the business structure. Laurie, on the other hand, is maybe the best product person of this generation, other than Steve Jobs. I mean, she's an eye for product, and we will stay up till midnight talking about colors and shapes and new characters and new books. And should we do a female Mensch? What should she look like? And all these different crazy ideas. And she's very into the details, and they balance each other out very well. And I like them both.
You were so lucky to be able to go on there. Was it nerve-wracking to try to have to? I mean, like, how did you flew in? Do they have a car pick you up? How does that go?
No. So you go in and you stay at a hotel.
Yeah.
And you go in on, like, I went in on maybe a Monday night. Tuesday is practice day. And practice day, you go in with maybe 12 other entrepreneurs, and they stage you, you have all your stuff behind you, and you practice your pitch. Well, what I didn't realize is the practice pitch is for the executive producer, and that's not a practice pitch, that's an audition. And
I suppose,
after that, they tell you if you're going to go on or not.
Wow.
And I did not realize, so I was probably more comfortable than I should have been. And my guys had told me, look, Neal, you need to dial it up to like 11. And I was like, you guys want 11? I'll give you 11.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's add more Funica to Hanukkah. And the executive producer, Clay Newble, loved it. I mean, he said to me, you should come in and teach people how to pitch. You're just wonderful at presenting. And I was like, well, thank you. And I walked off, and the two guys, producers I've been working with, were like, you made it. You're going to go on Shark Tank. And
crazy.
I'm Jewish, so I'm nervous by nature.
Shocking.
And I knew I'd feel like a ball of anxiety, and I'd be feeling sick. So what I did was I asked them if I could go first my day of pitching. And I know that sometimes the pitches go long, and the last person just sometimes gets bumped. But if you're first, you don't get bumped, and not as much time for the nerves to build up. So, and Shark Tank is all real. I mean, you're standing at the front of the hallway. They say go. You walk down that hallway. Now, the worst part was I stood on my mark for 60 seconds staring them all down while they set the cameras. That was terrible.
Was it? Well, I suppose. I mean, you're nervous as hell, and then you're supposed to just stand there, right? I mean, and wait.
Eyes. You're looking at 5 celebrities. They're kind of smiling. They're kind of smirking. My product was hidden, so they didn't know what to expect. And, it was just kind of crazy.
Wow. All right. So, we have a little question on the side from Cheryl Cloner. And I know this answer, obviously, but because I studied you because you're amazing. But she wants to know how you came up with the idea of Mensch on the Bench.
Yeah, I see a bunch of questions. So
you see them. Okay, great.
Yes, it's always Hanukkah in my house. That's the first question. And the answer. My mom gave me a hard time about the Jewish holidays and how long my kids are going to temple. And my response was, this is the most Jewish house in Cincinnati.
365 days of presents.
1,000 Jews in my house right now, literally. Don't worry, we're good. The person who wants to learn how to pitch, send me a personal message. I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, this Larry, for sure, right?
I was in my basement 2 years ago doing this. I love anybody who's kind of grinding it out. And how did I come up with the idea? Well, my wife is Catholic, and I'm Jewish, and we fight every year. We call it the December dilemma of do we want to go and do we want to have a tree? Do we want to have a wreath? And I'm kind of tough about that. I recognize every family's different. Everybody can have their own traditions. For me, it was not okay to have a tree in the house. We're raising the boys Jewish, and as I say, Jesus is the meal, Christmas is the dessert. And if you don't eat the meal, you don't get the dessert. So you don't get Santa if you don't believe Jesus. Yeah. Just my view on that. So we're at the store, we're walking through Nordstrom's, and my son runs up with an elf on a shelf. And I'd seen this all around, and my sister-in-law does it. And I just looked at him, I was like, dude, you can't have an elf on a shelf. You can have a Mensch on a bench. And I fell in love. Like,
crazy.
I was on my phone within 10 seconds searching. It didn't look like anything was out there. That night I went back and I wrote the book. And the book is a one-page in Word. I mean, I went and I sat down with my wife and my son, read it to them. They liked it. And we actually went on vacation for a week. It's all I talked about on vacation.
I was going to say, when you go on vacation, your brain's like always into like something like that you just thought of.
I was
because you're not working
ahead of myself. I was like, honey, we're going to be on Shark Tank. We're going to have it. I got this idea for an app and a TV show and wrapping paper dreidels. And oh my God, what about this? So the whole week I'm talking, we get back and my wife says to me, you need to shut up and do something about it. And
have you come up with ideas before? Have you had other things where you've come up ideas and she's always like, get going on it because someone else is going to come up with it?
Not like that. I mean,
okay.
I come up with ideas all the time, but they're not like that. This was really like the first one that I wanted to invest my time into.
Cool.
And so I filed the trademark that night. I did it myself. I went on to the U.S. government site, figured out how to file a trademark. I didn't really know how. 3 days later, somebody else filed for the same trademark.
Yeah, I saw that. I couldn't even believe it. How do you know? How do you know that they did that? I've never done a trademark before.
Well, I knew because she called me.
Oh,
and she was really upset. And she was like, please tell me that you didn't file 3 days before me. I was like, sorry.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy.
And
it's Basheret. It's Basheret.
Yeah,
right?
What's funny is somebody else had a similar idea, and they got the domain name Mensch on a Bench, but they didn't do anything with the idea other than that. So I got the Mensch on a Bench.
Oh,
I reached out to this guy, and I was like, and this is at the point I just started. I had, no money other than I had $300 in the trademark invested. And I said, I'd like to buy this from you. And the guy's like, how much? And I was like, I'd give you like $20 right now. I mean, I got nothing. And the guy's like, well, come back later on. And, about 9 months later, I bought it from him for $200 and 2 Mensches.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Neal, how did you actually come up with making this the first time? Like, you had the idea in your head. Did you draw it out? I know you were a past exec at Hasbro. So were you working with them at all? Or had you already left there? Or
I'd already left Hasbro.
Okay.
So my wife is at Procter & Gamble. And when she got promoted, I had to leave Hasbro and move to Cincinnati with her. So I left my dream job. I was missing toys, came up with this crazy toy idea. She encouraged me to go after it. So the first thing I did, I went on to 99 Designs and found some illustrators to help me get kind of the idea from my head into paper.
Yeah.
What I loved about 99 Designs is you get all these different designers putting up with their interpretation of what you're doing, and then you vote on it. And based on how you vote, they react, and they get narrower and narrower into what you finally want. And then ultimately I ended up, my own little, this is my coffee mug.
I love it. You've made it if you've got a coffee cup with your little project idea on it. Absolutely. Or logo, whatever. Oh my gosh. So
I ended up going on to Kickstarter.
Oh,
and
that's right.
I reached out to every person I've ever met. And what I love is if you look at my Kickstarter, I have not only Jews supporting me, but friends supporting me. And, there were friends who were Hindu, Islamic, Christian, Jewish. I mean, the whole spectrum. We're all just very supportive. And, we went forward. We did it. We raised the money. And I got my wife to let me invest a little bit more. And we bought $1,000. And they arrived at the house. We'd sold 300 through Kickstarter. So we'd sold 300. We had 700 in the basement. They arrived. And the books are terrible, terrible, terrible quality. You open them up, they fall apart. They're unfinished. I called my factory in China, and they said, we'll refund you the money. We'll refund you the 50 cents. And I was like, 50 cents?
Wow.
And I had a friend in the printing industry here who reprinted them all for me at cost. But cost was still $7 a piece.
America, but
overnighted them to me, and so that's $7,000 out of pocket that we just decided to spend, because at that point, as I said, I'd emailed every person I'd ever met, and I was like, I'm not going to put out crap. It's just not. And my wife was very supportive. She was like, we put our names on this. We're not putting out something we don't feel good about.
Totally
and
agree.
It was the best decision we ever made. Everyone who got Mensch loved it. We sent the Mensch out to a few PR outlets, and it made it to The View. It made it to the Today Show, New York Post, USA Today, Huffington Post. It was absolutely amazing. And then second year, last year, we got back to the Today Show for a second and third time when we sent them the 5-foot Mensch.
Yeah, they love that one. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, now Roker some specials. We'll see if he decides to do year 3. I love
that would be so nice, wouldn't it? We'll watch for it for sure. But it was the cutest. He's the cutest for sure. So Neal, what's your educational background? Like, were you somebody who always had this thing for toys or stuffed animals, or, you know, what made you think of going that direction when you thought of something like this? I mean, obviously the elf, but, you know, like.
No, honestly, this wasn't a happy accident. This was probably 10 to 15 years of structuring my life to be able to get to this point. I always wanted to make toys. I mean, I knew I either wanted to make comic books or toys or do something in that entertainment world.
Yeah.
Coming out of Michigan with my BBA, I went to Procter & Gamble. I didn't like it. You know, it's a great fit for some people, like my wife who's still there. For me, I'm just too flighty to work at a place like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting into grad school and decided to work at a kids-focused ad agency for the few months in between. And I ended up deferring school to stay there a year, and Hasbro was one of my accounts. So when I got to grad school, I called Hasbro and said, look, I've worked with you in the past. I'm at University of Virginia, getting my MBA. I don't care if you pay me. I just want to work there. And ended up getting an internship, working there 6 years, absolutely loving it. Came to Cincinnati, worked for Hasbro remotely for a while, went to another toy company, and then ultimately left the toy industry and wanted to get back into it, but it was trying to find a way in Cincinnati. And that's when I had this crazy idea. And honestly, I did Mensch on a Bench for almost 2 years before I quit my job. It was only once we went on Shark Tank and I knew we were going to get, you know, almost $900,000 in sales, I felt comfortable enough. And even now, I mean, I barely take a salary. You know, first 6 months a year, I can't afford to pay myself, as crazy as that sounds, because I take all my money and I put it into the materials to buy Mensches. So if you need $500,000 in Mensches, you need to put down, you know, 150 grand in cash, send it over to China. Who is 150 grand around? So I'm running most of the year in debt. You know, at this time of the year, I finally paid off the debt and had like a zero balance. And then hopefully at the end of the year, we end up positive and, you know, I get paid.
So you, like the first year you sold about 1,000, correct?
Sold 1,000 in 10 days, which was crazy.
Yep. And then last year you did about 50,000.
Over 60,000.
Did you? Okay. And so now where, like, do you know, can you kind of know where you're at this point, assuming that people have ordered ahead? And I know there'd be some extras that would come in, but have you surpassed did you have a goal for this year? And
no, so you don't know until the end of the season. You kind of have to make your bet earlier in the year. So with an early Hanukkah, I said we're only making 50,000 this year, even though we did 60 last year. And I think that this is going to catch on more. There's only one way to kill a good toy, and that's to make too much of it. And I wasn't going to let that happen to Mensch. Yeah. So I could have sold out, right? And I could have pushed 100,000 pieces out there, and we would have sold 70, and everybody would have clearanced them out and never bought it again. So this, I treat it like it's my baby, and it's a long-term investment for me, not short-term. So we had the retailers wanting more.
Neal, what do you see as the future? Are your wheels always spinning and you're thinking of something new that you want to do all the time? I mean, you know how you came up with your dreidel and your menorah.
What year are we in? 2015?
Yeah.
I have 2016. I don't know beyond that. But wow. So my goal is that you're going to walk into a Target or a Bed Bath & Beyond, and there will be a whole section of Mensch. And there will be dreidels and menorahs and wrapping paper and candy bars and gelt. And that we are going to have a cartoon special that we're working on.
Oh, my gosh. There you go.
We sold the rights to the book already.
Wow. Yeah.
So
could have the Mensch and the elf, like, you know, hanging out and being a couple, and it'd be a really cool cartoon, right? They could be that would be really the married two males, right? One's Jewish, one's not. What a great cartoon. We don't have one of those cartoons yet other than South Park, right?
We're working, we have some ideas. We're working with a studio called Pilgrim.
Cool.
Out in LA. They're great. We are working on it now. And, as for Elf, I think they kind of look at us like a kid brother. So it's almost like they just let us do our thing. They definitely don't bother us, but they don't really encourage us. Whenever I talk about them, I say the nicest things, because without them and their business, we would not be able to do our business. They've never done anything to stop us or stand in our way. I've had dinner with their CEO. She is brilliant. Wow. She can think circles around me. I hate to say that, but she really can. So right now we go separate, but next year Christmas and Hanukkah fall on the same day. So I'd love to see us find a way to do something together.
Wouldn't that be nice? It would be really nice. I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so glad I got to meet you face to face. This was so much fun. It's so much fun.
That's it?
Yeah, but my question was I have something actually I want to do with you.
It's a warm-up.
But all wait. Right. Oh, because you tell me what more you have to tell me. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You're a busy man making little dolls in your basement.
Oh, no, I just got the mail guy just came. We just shipped out 100.
Because you just got done making them last night, right?
Yeah. There were a couple questions. I'm going to scroll through.
Movie.
So for Larry, I had a couple questions. We raised $22,000 on Kickstarter. In reality, we raised $18,000, and I put in the last $4,000 because we were getting kind of close. And it was a good investment. And I had a friend of mine who actually said to me, I told him I was worried we weren't going to make it. And he said, you're going to make it. Whatever you're short at the end, I'm going to put in.
Wow.
And
that's
I
beautiful.
to let him do that, but it was nice knowing that that's how much people believed in me.
Yeah.
I had a couple distant cousins who, a wonderful couple. They're from Maryland. It's actually a gay couple. They have 4 kids together.
Wow.
I've met them maybe twice, but they are so nice. They gave $2,000 to my Kickstarter. And after last year, once we had done pretty well, I sent them the check back.
Oh, Neal, that's so nice.
If you gave
not with interest, did they want it with interest?
No, they did. Well, they also got all their mentions and everything. But so anybody who bought a mensch on Kickstarter for $36 or got their name in the book for $50, I feel like got a fair deal and got what they wanted. And the people who gave $2,000 to get 10 menches plus one with a gold talus, which was really unique.
Wow.
They didn't get $2,000. So I didn't feel right about that. Once we were successful, I felt like it was the right thing to do to pay them back. And they never asked for it. It was not the expectation. That's not how Kickstarter works, but it's kind of.
But you were being a real mensch.
You know, if you're going to run a company based on being a mensch, and you kind of have to live by those words. And,
look, someone said you're a mensch. I love it. I just saw that. That's great. Isn't he? He is.
With the movie, it's funny. It's actually I'm got cousins everywhere. So I got a cousin in LA. I sent her a mensch on a bench. She had it on her desk, and she works for an entertainment company. And William Morris, who is one of the top so somebody from William Morris walked by and said, "What is that? I love it." So the William Morris exec, and then the CEO of Pilgrim Studios looked at it and said, "That is awesome. I want that property." And that day they called and they were like, "Let's do something." And I was so nervous. I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing." But they get it. They got the idea of Jewish kids not having something to rally around.
Yeah.
And also, I'm very mindful of this will not be Santa Claus. This will never be bigger than the holiday. This is a tool to further the holiday. So if you read the book, Moshe plays dreidel, eats latkes, sings the prayer. He doesn't.
Not in the book, but
and he supports the Maccabees, right? It's not that because of him we have Hanukkah. It's we have the miracle of lights because of God, and Moshe was a witness to that. And to me, that's an important distinction as a Jewish dad, because I made this as a tool to teach my kids. And I've said no to. I've had people come with offers to make some crazy things like wine stoppers. And I was like, wine stoppers is too far for me. Dreidels are okay. Menorah's okay.
Diapers, that's okay.
Maybe diapers at someday, but not yet. Candy bars. I like the candy bars.
I like the candy bars too. Do your kids like, do their friends come over and think you're just like a super badass and you're amazing because of what you've done? Do they all have them?
They think I'm weird.
Do they?
They really do think I'm just a big kid.
I love that.
Like, I had a kid come over last night. He's like, what's a Hanukkah?
Oh.
And his dad's, we're becoming good friends with him. His dad's a pastor. And I'm like, my son was like, I want to be friends with Jeremiah, and I want you to be friends with his dad. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I end up sit down with this guy, nicest guy in the world, and we get talking, and he's a pastor. And I'm like, Jake, you didn't think it's a little funny that, I'm running the Jewish toy company, and you want me to be best friends with the pastor? And we're hitting it off, and it's kind of one of those hilarious things that you kind of live by the sword, die by the sword. If you tell your kids, be proud of being Jewish, but be welcoming to everyone, and then they live by those beliefs. It's interesting.
That's cool.
Jeremiah's going to get a Mensch this year. And I go into their schools every year. I read the books to them, to all their friends. So it's part of kind of what I do.
Good. Again, a Mensch. You're a good guy, right? So do you get to stay? So while your wife's out working during the day, do you get to you're just doing your business stuff at home and cleaning the toilets? Or
it depends on the time of year, but this time of year it is stressful. There is already a second book called the Afi Kol Mensch.
Oh,
sold out last year, and then I think Friday night is my Shark Tank update, and that is where you'll get a sneak peek at what the next book will be coming out next Hanukkah.
Oh, nice. That's really good. You should send me the link, and I'll throw it on all my stuff, too.
Okay.
I wouldn't miss it for the world, Trebek.
Yeah, for sure. Can he hear all that you're throwing on? Okay, sorry, Neal. My producer's really into putting in extra noises all the time.
Yeah,
I love it, though, but it's funny. I just want to make sure. Do you have anything else you want to tell me?
No, I think you should try and keep kosher instead of not so kosher, but besides that.
Well, it's you're okay, you're right. Do you keep kosher?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't either.
No, I'm just having fun with it.
I just pretend to.
Kosher, but that's it.
I just wish I did, but it's too hard because our deli, unfortunately, is milk and meat.
I tell you what, I kosher style.
There you go. Yep, we're kosher style.
I would never have a glass of milk with a hamburger.
That's nasty.
I don't eat, pork ribs, but I don't keep strict kosher.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, cheeseburgers we like, right?
On occasion.
Okay.
On occasion.
What? So, anything else you want to tell me? Anybody else? Jew light. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
Jewish.
No, Jew light. I think that'd be cute. A little Mensch light, his night light, right?
It's hilarious.
Is that what she means?
Email me at just go to the Mensch on the Bench website, and you can find out. There's a contact, and they'll go right to me.
There you go. You need to do this all the time now, Blab, right?
This is kind of fun.
This is awesome. I like it much better because I need a visual. I'm just more of a visual person. We're going to put this on on the Alive and Social Network.
I just said I thought you'd be taller. No, I'm 5'2". I'm a little.
I thought you'd be tall. You're 5'2"? Wait, what? Seriously?
Oh yeah, I'm a little fuzzy.
Oh shit! I love that. I'm a little Mensch. That's so funny because I'm only 5'3.5", and my husband's like 5'10", and he's a shrimp to us. Yeah. But I love short. Oh my god, I love you. You're almost legally a midget. Do you know that?
I did 5-foot Mensches, so they would be the same size as I am because I thought that was funny.
I love that. It's fabulous. You do not look short in your like Facebook stuff and your Mensch stuff and nothing, not at all.
I am short. Those are cards I was dealt. So
You know what? It's beautiful. We're lucky.
I want to ask a question. I'm the producer. You can't see me, but I have a quick question for you. Being that you make toys now, what was your favorite toy growing up, or what was the toy that got you to start really wanting to work for Hasbro, I guess?
I think the toy was probably Transformers.
Yes.
Right when they came out with their Beast Wars. there was something about they had cars, and then they had these Transformers that were insects, and it was such a cool thing. And I love G.I. Joe. So when I got to go to Hasbro and run G.I. Joe, I got to run the 25th anniversary. So I got to remake all the stuff from my childhood, and that was so incredible. One of my friends is now Sergeant Slaughter, who was this 80s hero to me. And now it's like the two of us would go out for dinner, and I still can't believe it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's quite the dream. That's cool.
Grant's going to be like all la 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 all evening.
I love the Transformers growing up and G.I. Joes. I also grew up with a lot of Tonka toys, so I know that I think there's a connection. Hasbro may have purchased Tonka toys way back when. But
Tonka as well. And then Tonka, we did Tonka Chuck and Friends, which was for little kids. And then, if you...
He's got everything. Check it out.
You got my G.I. Joes. These are prototypes in pack.
You can look.
So this is how we used to lay them out in pack before they were even painted.
Wow. That's great.
That's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I grew up, actually. My grandfather was CEO and chairman of Tonka Toys for a long time before they sold and moved down.
Down in Minnesota. That's awesome.
Yeah. He was Russ Wangster, and he started the yellow dump truck, actually. That was his toy invention. He's in the Toy Maker Hall of Fame for the yellow dump truck.
Wow, Grant.
Yeah, so this whole time I've been kind of loving this whole conversation. And
see, I didn't even know that about him. How cute is that? This even made it more exciting for him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. I'll let you guys get back at it. I just had to talk to him for a second.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you asked. That's wonderful. All right, Neal. So I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so glad I got to meet you face to face. This was so much fun.
There are more Menches to be made.
That's right. Down into your toy shop.
Larry seems like he wants to have a chat.
Larry sure does, doesn't it? All right, so you know what? We're gonna have to. We should talk again when When's that book coming out? Next year or Passover? Or,
we're closer to Hanukkah.
Yeah,
Hanukkah. Do a quick chat. I'm down for it.
Okay, cool, honey. I'll find you next year, but we'll talk in between.
Right.
I gotta send you a little present. I'm sending you some little Hamantaschen for Hanukkah.
All right, I'll send you. I'll send you a Mensch.
No, you don't worry about that. I want to get you some Hamantaschen. All right, honey. I'll check in with you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye. You too. Bye-bye. All right, so kosher, not kosher. Yeah. We have cheering at a sports game. Is that kosher or is that not kosher?
Dude, that got loud. That got really loud. We're going to turn that down. I apologize. You asked me a question right as I got really loud there. What was it?
Okay, you were getting really into it.
I was.
Cheering at a sports game.
Oh, 100% kosher, but don't stand up. So I'm all about cheering, but I'm not going to have people who get drunk and just stand and scream to stand, because you can't go to the game anymore and just watch the game. You've got all these kids my age acting like fools, which, whatever, have a couple beers, but be mindful of the people behind you.
Absolutely.
So cheer, but be respectful of the people behind you.
Okay, that's true. You're absolutely right. That's a good thing.
What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, when I believe the same thing you believe, and actually, John and I, if we go to a game where people do that, he'll literally tell them to sit down.
Good.
I am just so sick of that shit.
It's stadium etiquette.
Right.
Yeah.
So many people do it, and I don't want to even say it's drunk people. I've been to a ton of Gopher games, and the old people will stand up and stand there. I'm like, what are you doing?
Unfortunately, a few people start, then the whole crowd does, then everybody has to.
Well, because you're screwed. It's kind of like a concert, too. When you go, they do that. It's frustrating. I don't like it at all. Okay. When you go to a kid's sports game.
Cheering?
Well, I don't want to even say cheering. I want to say the standing up business. That's kind of a different area.
Parents take their kids' sports way too seriously. So I'm going to say, just sit down. When your son's out there doing something, give him a hooray. And when you're done, take the time afterwards. Good job, son. That's all my dad did. I knew he was watching. He never made a peep. Never made a peep. And then after every wrestling match, come down. Nice work. Nice job. You did this.
And you know what? I agree. Because I think that one is probably not kosher. Mm-hmm. Because I really believe when you go to these games for kids, you should cheer for both teams.
Yep.
Period. I just don't think it's fair. Okay. Using an egg with a blood spot.
Not kosher.
All right, so how do you know that that's not kosher for real?
Well, I just thought that the blood spot meant that there's something developed in it or something, right? That's kind of what I remember learning as a kid, so I would just...
Did your mom teach you that?
At one point in time.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know a non-Jewish person who believes that.
Yeah, my mom was just
So
like,
your mom must be Jewish.
yeah, she's a good woman.
You know-
Like all good Jewish women,
Yeah, of course,
she's
right?
a good woman.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, good for. I'm so glad there's some people out there. Thank God, and I'm glad you do that for a man. Usually, men don't really give a shit. John doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand that. Washing your hands after handling raw meat.
Absolutely, you have to. You have to.
Absolutely not kosher, right?
So, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, you handle.
to wash your hands.
You have to wash your hands.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wash my hands after doing a lot of things.
Well, that's
I'm
a
a
good
germaphobe.
thing. Me too. They were showing Matt on the Today Show. He did this thing where he was helping cook in the kitchen and he was cleaning off some chicken, and then he never washed his hands. And then when they got done with the meal, it was a finger food and he ate it, and they kept doing a replay on this, and he was like talking about it going, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I did that. That was super fucked up. I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't paying attention. Somebody should have told him.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was funny. Stealing your kids' Halloween candy.
Kosher, because we do this every year at last weekend at deer hunting opener. My cousins who all have kids, they can't give their kids all that candy. That's just too much candy for them. It'll go bad. It's too much sugar for them. So they give them a good chunk of it, and then the rest of it comes up to the deer cabin, and you
eat it all.
we all munch on it when we've
But
got a couple beers in us.
Do they pick out certain ones, or do they let their kids pick out the certain ones, the good ones?
See, yeah,
Or
when
do they
they're-
do it before the kid gets to
I was
it?
gonna say, if it were me, until my kid realizes what he really likes, I'd pick out what I want. But
Yep.
then when he realizes what he likes, I'd let him or
Then
her.
you have to.
You'd have to let them pick up first.
I learned when I would steal that, and then my kid would say to me, I could have sworn I had a Butterfinger in there.
Butterfingers, is that your favorite? Yes,
That
me
and
too.
Reese's, man.
Oh,
I'm like,
chocolate
oh
peanut
my
butter.
God, I love that. I love it. Love it. Okay, window seat, aisle seat, definitely not middle seat, but which one?
Window every time.
Wow, me too.
Just kind of put the head up on the side. I can control the light because I hate when if it's bright and I can just shut the window.
Absolutely.
People look at you like I want that natural light, and I'm like, well, you should have got the window seat, buddy.
Exactly.
like.
And I personally think the window seat for exactly the same thing, but I like to never be bothered at all. And for some reason, Big Daddy only likes to sit on the end. But meanwhile, he doesn't like anybody touching him, so he gets knocked all the fucking time by the little cart lady.
Go to the
It's
aisle,
pretty
or
messed
go to the
up.
window like
Yeah,
us.
so I personally think it's kosher to be at the window seat. I agree with you.
I just bought a pillow on Amazon for window seat purposes. It's not like the one that wraps around your neck for flying, where if you kind of get the limp neck, this one rests on the side of your shoulder that the window seat is on. It cradles your neck, and then it has a pillow that comes up by your ears, so it literally like fits into the wall. You can lean into it with a pillow. It's awesome.
I'm going to show you right after we get done here. I got to show you this picture of, I saw it like it came from China, and it looks like they took, those new infinity scarves that they have? Mm-hmm. Okay. So they took a down comforter, a small one, and they made it into an infinity scarf, and you can literally wrap it all the way up here and then totally lean your head like as if you're encased in a blanket. Oh. And I made one because I had this like little extra little down throw kind of that I didn't know what to do with it, but I bought it because I thought it was so cute.
That's perfect.
It was. All right, one more. No, I'm going to give you two more.
Two more?
Donuts or cupcakes?
Oh my God. Well, if it's a
That's
chocolate,
hard.
see, it's tough because I don't all cupcakes, but they have to be chocolate.
Very good. I
like,
agree.
It'd be cupcakes in general, but I do love just a chocolate donut, like a Long John with chocolate frosting.
Do you need the inside with the stuff on the inside?
I don't like the cream on the inside. I'm not a cream.
You can imagine I'm a cream girl.
Yeah, right.
I can't help it. Oh my
Something about
gosh.
being a man, cream inside. Can't do it. Just
I'm sorry.
can't do
Really? Aren't you creaming inside?
Well,
you do cream
I mean,
inside.
Maybe that's why. Because I do. I don't need to have extra.
There you go. Okay, good. I like that. And my favorite one of all times, Sean Bernard.
Sean Bernard?
Kosher or not kosher?
He's kosher, of course. He's my boss.
He's way kosher.
Yeah.
That man is totally kosher. Love you, Sean Bernard.
Great man.
Okay, juicy news. I have some very interesting things to talk about today. Not a lot, but just some interesting things. So, one thing I was reading about that I never knew, Golda Meir, this tough, energetic, and empathetic and captivating woman, Israel's only prime minister to date, was having these affairs with the president of Israel, Zalman Shazar, who was the president from 63 to 73,
Mm-hmm.
and then simultaneously having an affair with Israel's first minister of transportation.
Are we talking Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky? No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
right? I know. What is this shit?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever...
They're
if you
human.
know-
That's what it is.
Well, it's true. I was going to say,
Come
that's
on.
exactly what I was going to say, is Golda Meir was a very unattractive woman at the age that she was doing that she was prime minister. So it's interesting to me because it clearly tells you that because she was married. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, so they clearly just are human.
yeah, I
And
don't. I don't agree with cheating or stuff like that, but it's human. People
But-
make mistakes. I mean,
And see, and I agree with you, but what's interesting to me is thousands of years ago, no one knew about one person.
that's true.
They did everybody. The Greeks had
Exactly.
it going on.
The cell phones and social media.
Oh, for sure. Now we got all that.
Everybody knows what everybody's doing.
That's
right?
true. So true. All right. So something very interesting that I had read about was pork is officially off the menu at the U.S. federal prisons. Have you heard about that?
That's unfortunate for
Yeah,
them.
well, because you would think it's the other white meat, so it would be really a good thing to do. But, okay, so with the start of the new fiscal year for October 1st this year, the 206,000 inmates housed in 122 federal penitentiaries are no longer being served pork. Pork has been the lowest rated food by inmates for several years. Oh, like we give a shit that they're complaining about the meat there.
Right?
You fucking assholes.
Thank you.
God, I can't even believe it. It also became increasingly expensive, which I found very interesting, for the government to purchase pork products for the prisons. Pork products, including rinds and pre-cooked bacon, are still available to inmates, thank God, because then they can eat that kind of shit via the prison, provided that they pay for it. Isn't that crazy? That's weird. I don't get that. So observant Muslims and Jews refrain from eating pork. Yes, we know that. Vegetarian, kosher options are supposed to be made available to inmates. A number of lawsuits have cropped up in recent years over dietary accommodations in prisons. You know what? This I don't understand. How they can... What are they suing? The Jews and the Muslims and vegetarians are suing the prisons.
You got there. Deal with it. Like
That's
I'm
weird.
sorry, but like you put yourself in the prison system. There's no.
I don't get that.
I
I
need
don't
this.
like this.
There's no accommodations.
Don't you have any Rembrandt?
yeah,
I don't really like this kind of toothpaste.
Exactly.
Really?
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
You ended up in jail. You made your bed, no pie in it.
I don't get it at all.
Excuse my
So
language.
no, I'm so proud of you. You really said it like it is.
I never swear to. I really try to keep it
You
down.
don't usually,
Yeah.
but it pisses you off. I get it.
Oh, that one just.
The lawsuit was filed by the Justice Department against the Florida Department of Corrections on behalf of 13 inmates.
13.
That's messed up.
There you go.
Florida had canceled its kosher meals in 2007, citing cost as the reason. That's stupid. Okay, anyways. All right, so Howard Stern's daughter, Emily Stern, she's 32. She has barely dated people. She's
Is she
really
cute?
beautiful. She is beautiful. Allison and Howard made a beautiful daughter. She lives, in the Upper West Side probably because she's just a hoity-toity.
Mm-hmm.
And her dad lives up there, I know for sure, but she probably is too. But she just hangs with she became very religious and she hangs out with all the orthies and just kind of does her thing. It's very nice. I thought that was really cool to see that. Another great show that I want to tell you about here at Alive and Social is the Great Northern Sex Cast. Longtime radio personality and producer Kelly Guest and her pal, CEO of Fantasy Gifts, Colleen Bertino, present the Great Northern Sex Cast. This show talks about all things sex. Grab your headphones and learn everything you always wanted to know about sex and intimacy, but were always afraid to ask. To hear the latest episode or catch up on what you've missed, visit aliveandsocial.com. And next week, join me for Christy Wesson. She's a local mommy just like me. We're going to talk about a bunch of Thanksgiving bullshit. Can't wait. Remember to check me out on Twitter at Not So Kosher or Not Kosher, whichever one you choose. And check me out on Instagram, Not Kosher TC, Facebook, Not Kosher, and everywhere else in between. And always check me out on aliveandsocial.com. That's the best place to check me out. Be well, my Juniverse, and pray for the world. Be my big daddy.